Aubrey. I'm going to show you how to make a little yarn doll. Now, I talked to your grandma and she said you don't have any yarn right now, so I'm going to make sure that you get some yarn in the next couple of days so you can make your own doll. So here's how we get started. I'm going to move over here so you can watch. First, you need to take your yarn and cut some pieces, just about this long enough that you'll be able to tie them, because you're going to have to do a little bit of tying. And it helps to have about maybe 6 pieces already cut. Okay, so you got your pieces, we'll just put them there. Now you need to get something that you can wrap your yarn around temporarily. I'm using a book because this is about the size that I want to make my doll. My doll's going to just be a little bit smaller than the book. So I'm going to take my yarn and I'm going to already pull out some from the ball. Let me pull out a bunch so it's easier for me to wrap. Okay, now I'm going to take the end and just kind of hang it over the top of my book, a little extra there. Now I'm going to wrap it around and around my book 20 times, but I don't want to pull it tight. I want to leave it kind of loose. All right, so let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Don't want it to get tangled. Loose. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. And now I'm just going to hang this end a little bit over and snip it off. Now I'm going to take one of the pieces, the little shorter pieces that we cut, I'm going to slip it underneath all my 20 loops of yarn. You see that? And I'm going to tie it once and twice so it's nice and tight. And I'm going to snip that off, and that's going to be the top of my doll's head. Now I'm going to take another one and I'm going to slip it under my book, and I'm just going to tie it once loosely just to kind of hold things in place while I do the next step. Okay, let's slide it off the book and set that aside for now. And then when you get your yarn, you're also going to get a little felt wool ball like this. And this is going to be my doll's head. So I'm going to put the head underneath here. Look at that, it looks like it's hair. But this is going to be your whole head, not her hair. Now I'm going to spread all this yarn as evenly as I can to cover up this ball. Let's see, I want to take my time doing this. We don't need to rush. You see, this is looking pretty even. Let's see, I'll hold it down here, see where I might want to scooch some pieces over, a little bit over here. Doesn't have to be perfect. And now when I'm happy with it, I think that looks fine, I'm going to take another one of my short pieces and I'm going to tie it around, and this is going to make the neck and hold this all in place. So I'm going to do 1, 2 because I want that nice and tight. And I'm going to snip off the extras. So here we have the head. Okay, now I'm going to set her aside because I need to do some more wrapping. I need to pull out a little bit more yarn from my ball here. And this time, instead of wrapping 20 times, we're going to wrap 10 times. But instead of wrapping from the top to the bottom, from the head to the foot, we're going to wrap this way from one hand to the other. So I'm going to turn my book like this, have a little extra hanging over, and now I'm going to wrap 10 times loosely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'll go a little extra, and I'm going to snip it off. Now we've still got some more short pieces, and we're going to do just like we did before. We're going to slip them under all of your 10 wraps of yarn, and we're going to tie it. We're going to tie it tight. So we're going to do once, twice. Can you see that? Okay. And snip that off. And now we're going to turn it over. We're going to do it the same way over here. We're going to slip our yarn under. And now you can see that. I'll turn it this way. You're going to tie it once and twice, so it's nice and tight, and trim it off. Okay, now we've got a couple little shorter ends here. We don't have to worry about them if we don't want to, or you can just snip them off if you want. Maybe I'll just snip them off. Okay, now I'm going to slide this off, and I see I still have one extra of my pieces. So I'm going to tie again a little bit down from where I tied. You see, this is going to be a hand, and so what I'm doing is I'm tying at the wrist. So I'm going to tie it tight and twice. Once. Maybe if you put it on the table, it makes it easier. And twice. And then snip off the extra. And as you see, I need to do one on this end, so I'm going to need to cut another short piece. And while I'm at it, I need to cut actually 3 more pieces. 1, 2, and 3. So I need 1 piece to tie the other hand. Tie it once. Let's get that. Okay, and move it where I want it. That looks good. And a second time twice. Pull it tight and snip it. And this is going to be her arms. Okay, now what I have to do is, I already got it split like this for her 2 legs. I'm going to go in between, and on this side, in between. You can count if you want. In between would be 10 on one side, 10 on the other, but it doesn't have to be exact. And I'm going to pull her arms through and just kind of put her arms up over her head, and now smooth down the body. Smooth it down. Now, in order to keep these arms from falling out, I need to tie one around what's sort of her waist. So I'm going to tie it once. Don't have to make it super tight. And twice. But a tight knot and snip off the extra. So look at this. It's looking pretty good. Now, I'm thinking that I want to do this a little bit differently. What you could do is you could tie off your 2 feet and cut these ends, and then you're going to have little loose feet. I didn't do that on this one. I did it a little bit differently. So I'm thinking maybe I'll show you how I did it this way so it has the same kind of feet. Okay, so in that case, let me just take off her little belt here, and I'll show you how I did it on my first one. Okay, let's see. What I did was I actually just put the arms right in between this opening. Okay, right in between there, and I tied a knot. There's a lot of different ways that you can make a yarn doll, and you can experiment and do things a little bit differently if you want. Sometimes people cut all of the yarn, the ends of the hands and the feet, so it sort of just sticks out, and that's a nice way to do it. And sometimes you can just keep it looped together. You can do it that way as well. So I tied 2 knots around the waist. I'm gonna snip it off. Okay, whoops, I think maybe I'm gonna need that one. Now I'm gonna untie this. Remember, we didn't tie it tight, we just did this one once. This was to just kind of hold it in place. All right, now I need to separate this out into 2 legs. So let me count here. Remember, this was 20 loops, so 10 and 10. 10 for one leg.